Yeah, I mean, sort of. Nothing wild or crazy, but
I like how you gave time to edit in the intro, by the way.
yeah, don't worry about it. They'll find
Kieran will figure it out.
Kieran.
I'm trying, Kieran.
Godspeed,
I'm
Kieran.
trying to help you out. Ian is like, it's like working with an old lady.
Oh, God, my tits hurt.
Okay.
I think I... Oh, sorry, I'm stretching. Oh, there we go. Needed that. That had been building up. So, no, I just want to talk about one of my favorite couples that comes in and buys games. Nothing bad happens here.
Is this a positive tale from the game store?
Tale from the game store.
Okay, that can.
So there's this older couple that comes in to the store quite a bit. I would put them in early 60s, easy. And they always come in, they look around, they buy games. They're pretty quiet. They used to be anyways, until I started like talking to them.
Early 60s.
Yeah.
Have you brought them up before?
No. Well, I brought up a different older couple.
Okay.
We do have a few older couples that shop there, and they're pretty much universally cool.
Shopping for television games?
The one couple I haven't seen in a while, they buy everything. The wife is really into like the Game Boy games, so we always like chat back and forth. So maybe this is a multiple old couple story here. But so the guy always comes in, and he's the more reserved one. And he'll look around, and he'll pick up like games or whatever, and he'll be like, how what do you think of this one? I'm like, yay or nay. And they'll buy it and they'll leave, and they've always been nice. And then the guy will come in with his wife, and she gets real excited about it. But the guy has always mentioned his grandkid and how, he's buying these games for his grandkids or whatever.
Mm-hmm.
I need to get a controller for my grandkid. So, they shop, and I start to realize that he's nice but doesn't really want to be in there. And the wife is like very into it. Okay. So about 3 weeks ago, they came in and bought a GameCube. A week later, they bought a PS2. And then a week after that, they bought an original Xbox.
All from the same generation.
Yep. And I was like, huh. And I was like, so what's going on here? You've had these before, these systems. I was like, because I've seen you buy the games for them. And they're like, oh, we gave those to our grandson. These ones are for me. The wife says.
Okay.
So she just said, so I'm like, oh, so, making conversation. I'm like, so you play a lot? And she's like, oh, I play all the time. And the guy just like rolls his eyes, kind of backs away. And I'm like, do you play? And he's like, no. He's like, I have no interest in this stuff. He's like, my grandson has less interest than she does. She's the one who plays all this. And this little 62-year-old woman just goes nuts talking to me about Devil May Cry and God of War and all these racing games she's playing. And I'm like, are you serious? And she's like, oh, honey, she's like, I bought a PS4 because I needed to make sure I could play Devil May Cry 5 or whatever that one was. So we just got talking.
So she was trying to play it off like it was for her grandson?
He would always say it was for his grandson.
Whenever they came in.
Because from what I understand, the grandson lives with them. They take care of the grandson. And, so, he always said it was for the grandson, and I believed him. And that's what he said. It oftentimes was. But when they came in and the woman would get excited, he'd still be like, does, whatever their grandson's name is, I can't remember,
Charlie.
Need this or need that or whatever. And she'd be like, no, he's fine. And then she'd be like, oh, yeah. So what I think was the case was, I think he was a bit embarrassed about his wife playing all these games and getting super, super into it because...
Ashamed of his wife being a gamer.
I swear to you, when she started geeking out, it was like talking to any other, let's say, 28-year-old average person.
And she never did that before with you in the store. She always held back. They were always really friendly, and they were always buying games, but she always held back on that. And I could tell she played some of the stuff with her grandkid, but I thought that was kind of like the extent of it. No, it turns out she's the one who's collecting and has like all these systems, and she's going over it, and she's like, I've got the Nintendo and the Super Nintendo, and I just got... she's like, I just replaced my PS2 and my GameCube with you guys in the past couple weeks. And she's like, I'll be back next week probably for a PS3. She's like, because I'm giving a lot of these to my grandkid as he gets older so he can just have them. Man, that's Social Security money.
So
Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Slow down. I hope it's taken care of, Granny.
But yeah, so they're fantastic.
That's fantastic.
And I really enjoy when they come in. And the guy, the woman's always been really nice, but the guy was always a little
haughty.
Just a little like,
why am I in this children's store?
Just quieter. And he was always nice, but like I've started to break him down a little bit, you know, and he jokes about like, you know, he's sitting there reading and his wife is just going off in the other room on some game and he just doesn't get it. He's like, I don't understand this stuff at all.
And that happens. That's not just for an older person. There's people our age or younger that aren't into video games at all. They understand that people like them. They're just like, I have no interest in this.
Yeah.
I don't think it's a generational thing in general. In general, the older you are, the less likely you're going to be into this stuff. I get that.
I think it very quickly with us as we become that age, as we become 60.
Yeah.
It's no longer going to seem generational or unique.
No.
But to have this woman who, from what I understand from what she said, basically picked up the habit from her grandson. Yeah. So it wasn't like her whole life she played games. It was, you know, her grandson got her into them. That is a little bit more unique.
Yeah, the Nintendo generation really is a generation that's going to making it. Yeah, Atari 2600 was popular, but not worldwide to the extent I think that Nintendo became, especially branching out to the Super and things where it's like.
Well, back then they didn't look at video games as it was still a toy. Video games now. It was a toy, or
in the Atari era, it was still a toy. They were sold as toys.
You think of it as like, you know, analogous to a board game. Sure. Or something like that.
Yeah, that's how they were looking.
Now it's totally something of its own.
Its own ilk.
Right, just because you may have been 40 when that came out and you enjoyed playing Atari does not mean that carried on at all past the Atari.
It was a toy to you. It's like, oh, I played this toy for for a few years and then I got out of it. Now it's a whole entertainment medium that developed from there.
Yep.
Yeah, they treated it like a toy in the 70s up to the early 80s. They really did. Anyway, that's a good positive.
So
every once in a while, the Crypt Keeper would have a positive tale that didn't end in an awful misery and death. Right? That happened. It's like the Twilight Zone. You had happy episodes, built in. Like the coin on its side. That was one of the best episodes.
Oh yeah.
That was great. I fucking love that episode.
That's a good one.
I love his interactions with the bank manager when he finds out about the little side piece. Yep. He's like, okay. Yeah. I didn't know about that. Sorry, I love Twilight Zone. I haven't seen the new one yet. I hear mixed things about the new Twilight Zone. It's tough. Twilight Zone's a tough thing to write. And they get the tone exactly right.
Well, I mean, even Twilight Zone didn't write Twilight Zone great all the time.
Yeah, and they tried the two remakes that I heard were shaky in the 80s and the early 2000s with Forrest Whitaker there. Anyway, sorry. So that's a positive tale from the game store.
Yeah.
That's a light. That's a cockles in my heart are happy with that one.